right, we are live. Hi. Hello, everybody. And hey, CK, good to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is such a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on your amazing launch of book two, Afflicted.
Thank you so much. It was exciting. It was really exciting. Like my first one was very quiet, not very many people knew me or anything. And so like yesterday I couldn't put my phone down because I was getting so many congratulations, and it was just like it was like I felt very honored. I felt very special that so many people had like jumped on along the way and were with me for the release. So that was very exciting.
Yes, I loved seeing it everywhere. For those of you who are joining today, we have a very special one to one live author chat with CK Sorens, who just released book two of the Trimarch series, which is Afflicted, and it came out yesterday or day before? Day before, right?
Yesterday, the first.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's it's been quite a whirlwind. I know getting here, if you're on Instagram, if you follow CK, you probably have seen the cover for Afflicted like all over the place, which has been great. And it is on Kindle Unlimited for free if you
Mm-hmm.
want to read it, and also available for purchase on Kindle Unlimited. And all of those links are in the description box. But today we've got CK on. We're going to talk just about her writing and certain parts of moving beyond book one of publishing and into other projects, because I know for me, when you put out a first book, and I've heard other authors say the same, there's like this slump that your first book comes out, and then for some reason a week or 2 weeks later so many people seem to hit either an imposter syndrome phase or their energy runs out, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people seem to actually walk away from writing after the release of the first book. So, sort of just a segue into all of our conversations today, why don't you tell us what was it like releasing book one? Did you go through that slump at all?
Book one was different. I actually was suffering from depression at the time, so I wasn't feeling much of anything. And maybe that helped. I don't know because I didn't have the crash. But also it was unique, and well, I don't know if it was unique, but for me this is the third version of this storyline, so I actually already had a lot of it kind of sketched out and everything, so I knew what to dive into. That being said, I was so afraid of second book syndrome. So it wasn't necessarily, I knew I could write a book, and I knew I would write a book, but I was so afraid that it would be that slump, that drop, that oh my gosh, she was such a promising debut author, and
Yes.
I was so nervous about that. That was what held me back a lot.
So, what helped you sort of overcome that fear of, is it going to be good enough to match
Yeah.
book one or to surpass book one?
Um, I have a lot of faith in my team. To be honest, I was like, look, I have fantastic betas. I have a really good um, editor, and they won't let me put out something that isn't exciting, that isn't going to hit all of those notes. And then I have gotten a fan letter from a young girl. I think she's 14, maybe 15 now. And she wrote me a fan letter and told me how much she appreciated it and how much the story meant to her, and that she loved the magic and everything in the books. And I was like, all right, well, I can't quit. So it's amazing, like just how knowing that people, it doesn't even matter one person loving your book so much and knowing that you need to keep going is just so very helpful.
Yes. So, did you already have like book two and the whole series written out? Because I know some authors write them all out, or did you just sort of have an idea and you only had book one written
Mhm.
out before you started publishing?
I I'm only writing one at a time. I don't plan on doing a rapid release ever. I like to take my time and make sure it's right. I mean, it's still quick, a year or so to get it done, but it was 18 months between these two books. And but that being said, I have been working on the story for quite a long time. It's the one that would not let you go, right? But first you have to figure out how to tell it. And it took quite a long time. So I have so much world building, so much backstory to be able to pull from, to be able to help me get the series started. So I do have like a rough outline, but I do not have any of the books. Even number 3 is not started yet. So
Oh, but you've got other projects. So if you're
yeah,
watching and you're new to CK and you pick up Trimarked and you pick up Afflicted, there is something else coming in October, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
I'm so
Um,
excited.
if you're viewing, because I know we've got people, I think, on both Facebook and YouTube watching right now, and it's also streaming to Twitter. So if you're watching the recording, feel free to drop questions in the comments afterward. But if you're watching live, go ahead and drop any questions you have for CK about writing or about publishing or about her books in the comments, and we'll answer those as they um, come up. It's so nice to see people on in the lunch hour, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's 11 here in California. So
Nice, nice. I don't know. It's really unusually warm here in Tennessee for this time of year, so I don't know what it is where you are, but
it has been, but we're currently normal right now. Yeah, but I'm new to the area, so I'm saying this with a grain of salt, just based on what people tell me. We only moved here like last year, so it'll be our first full year here.
wow. Well,
Mhm.
congratulations on a year in California.
Thank you.
So, talking about timelines, what
Mhm.
influenced your decision for a release timeline, or do you even have a
Mhm.
timeline? Because there's just so many things. I think if you're, well, I can't talk. If you're watching and you're an author, there's people that say you need to put a book out every 3 to 4 months to be successful. And there's people that say you should just put books out as you feel inspired to put them out. And you've been so much more successful with the second book than with the first book already, I think, right?
For
So,
launch, yeah, I will say February before launch was my most successful month with Trimarked. And I do feel like it was because Afflicted was coming out, that there was all this momentum. As for choosing my timeline, I my original goal was to do one a year, like one a calendar year. This last one ended up being 18 months because life happens in the meantime and it just took longer than I had hoped. I did like the 18-month timeline though. But that being said, when I was looking up when to set Afflicted's release date, there's apparently a schedule. So apparently certain books do better at certain times during the year, right? Women's fiction does better around the holiday season. Um, Fantasy happens to do better in the summer, but like darker stories happen to do better in the spring. So mine's kind of right there in the middle with a dark fantasy. So I chose to try March and see how it works. And so far, it's been very validating. It's been very successful with this timeline. So whether it's because it's the type of story that people want or because we've put out a great promotional program, I'm not sure, but it has been really good.
yeah, I think it's definitely something that, when I saw the question come through and I was compiling these last night, I thought that was a really good one because it's so subjective.
Mhm.
And the pro to being an indie author in some ways is you connect with other authors. And so it's like, I know that your next book may be a year out, but I also know other indie authors that write in your genre, and we can read them in the interim and then circle back around. It's never like somebody falls off the map.
Right.
Um,
Exactly.
but yeah, so we got a question from YouTube. What inspired you to write this genre? And for those who are watching, if you've never seen CK before, you write young adult fantasy, but
Mhm.
isn't Afflicted sort of in the dark fantasy?
It is. It's urban. Urban tends to be darker. I don't know if it's like full grim dark, but it does touch on some darker themes. I do try to keep it not like too dark so that the younger YA group can read it. Um, that being said, you know, we talk about bullying. We talk about, we touch a little bit on, I don't know, it's not a romance by any means, but they are teenagers. So some conversation might come up just because it's natural. So, but why I chose to write in this is actually, it's a long story, so I'll try to make it short. When I was first writing in middle school and high school, you know, my English teachers were very, very excited about it. But then I got to AP English in high school and was basically told that all I write are rainbows and characters who are just good, perfect characters. And that's fine, but there's no depth to that. There's, you know, nothing like that. It's like, okay, then. So, you know, then I started like really reading Margaret Atwood and getting into some more adult fantasy reading and everything. So then I like just started practicing writing unhappy stories, like from beginning to end, practice writing unhappy stories. And it turns out I liked it. Like I really liked that. Writing about that moment that is the hardest moment and finding a way out of it. And so, and I feel like I chose YA because we're reaching those moments for the first time in our lives. It's the first time that we are struggling with a lot of these real life things. It's the moment we make choices that truly form who we're going to be as adults. And that's not saying that certain things can't change, but a lot of our development happens right then. And so that's kind of how I ended up in this genre. Was I was pushed. I was pushed to do better and ended up finding the area that I love.
So I wonder if your teachers know that you now have books coming out and that they've pushed you to this opposite extreme.
No, I don't know yet. I keep wanting to write them because I live so far away now. I grew up in Michigan. And I don't know how much of it has gone across the internet into my small community or anything, but I keep thinking that I should write them, I should send them books. But then the pandemic happened and it's just made it a little bit more difficult to know like when schools are going to be open or if they're allowing certain things to happen, which is thankfully coming to an end. So maybe soon I'll be finally writing that letter and sending in some signed books for them.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Yes. What a great answer. So to go from that pendulum swing, and if you're watching and you're a reader and you're like, what's the difference between dark and grimdark? That comes down to the types of topics and the level of darkness in a book. Um, but yes, I've read a good bit of Trimarked, and it's an excellently done dark fantasy, especially for young adult. Um, Now, if you're in it and you're just like, I want blood and gore and violence, okay, that goes a little beyond, but
Yeah.
this balances out everything really well.
Thank you.
Um, One question we got
Mhm.
from social media was, are there going to be novellas to break up the wait between books?
I don't plan so with this series because it's already short. These books are 65,000 words. They, you know, like Kindle says they take 6 hours to read. And each of these books so far take place in one day. So Trimark takes place in, well, about 30 hours, and Afflicted takes place in about 30 or so hours. And so I don't plan with this series to do novellas. Maybe with the next series that I have coming out that is I'm so excited. I don't know. When are we talking about this?
Let's talk about it. Break the
Okay.
news, CK.
So Kat got me into this, and I'm excited that she did because this story that is coming from it is it's so amazing. It's the not the complete opposite of Trimark, but it is a romance. So it is a lot lighter. There are still some darker themes in it. I'm talking around it because I'm not sure like exactly how much to give away. But my story is called 18 Wishes. And it is about a genie who was cursed to be a genie. She was actually born a genie hunter. And then she was cursed
Oh.
to be a genie and sentenced to granting the wishes for this one family. But she's only allowed 1 year out in their 18th year, and she has to grant 18 wishes in order to be free. But because the free genies are called jinn, because they don't they like to play games. They're like, yeah, but if you get free, all the other genies that you're trying to hunt and kill are also going to be free. So I'm just going to make your job harder. So she doesn't
Oh.
want this to happen. She doesn't actually want to grant all these wishes, but she also wants her year, because when she's not there, she's in the realm of darkness. She is in the void. So so I'm really excited about it. These characters are spunky. They're 18, and well, Easter is much older, she being a genie, but they are very. I didn't actually plan on this being a series until I finished it, and then I was like, this can't end like this. And so but I do plan on it being not the same characters for each book, because it is a romance, and I prefer to finish my romance in one book and to continue the storyline on with other characters. So I'll be doing that. But I'm very excited about it. I know I'm being vague. I'm sorry, but
Oh, it's good. This is like the first real, like, spoilery type thing we've heard
yeah,
about your book for the Realm of Darkness set. That's the set we're
yeah,
talking about. There are going to actually be 40 full length novels in this set.
42.
42.
Mm-hmm.
See, you're on it. 42 full length novels in the set.
Yeah.
And as CK said, I'm doing one, and CK is doing one, and several other really amazing authors, bestsellers, award winners, multiple time USA Today bestsellers, and we're selling it for 99 cents right
Yes.
now before the release. So the link to
Yeah.
the set is also in the in the description. If you want to grab it, you can get CK's book. But I love the twist of a female genie combined with I used to hunt you and now I am one of you. Like,
Yeah.
mwah, brilliant.
There's a lot of complication in this story, and that's also part of it. Is like, once I got into the world building, it's like there's no way that this is just one story. World building is one of my favorite things to do. Explaining
Yes.
magic systems, not so much. World building, I love.
So how hard has it been then? Because obviously you've already been working on this book while you were building up for the release of Afflicted. What has it been like to balance having the box set book going and also the Trimark series going at the same time?
Yeah, it's been tricky. It's been a learning process. I want to say I haven't liked it, but I also like having learned it, because I like the idea of moving forward in a similar fashion. I like of getting used to it, of learning the good systems so that I can be working, say, on both series at the same time. Um, but it's been interesting. I have 3 scheduling journals. One is a week only, one is the month and the day, and then one is basically pure notes of to-do lists and all of that stuff. And I schedule it out as best I can. I have a writers group that helps make sure that I'm not getting too lost in the promotion and all that I'm still coming back to the page. I'm still being creative. And I'm really appreciative of that. They're Quill and Cup. I'll drop that on. Our lovely leader is Anya, and she has created just an amazing environment for women writers to come and do. We're held accountable, and we also learn along the way. So it's been really fun, and really it has kept me on track. I joined in October because I was so overwhelmed with the Realm of Darkness and with the promotion of this, and it was exactly the anchor I needed to be able to do this juggling. I highly suggest finding a tribe. I didn't have, say, like a set tribe before this. It was all kind of like very versatile, whomever had time that day. So it's been really, just really nice to have a set group to go back to.
Mm-hmm. And I did drop Quill and Cup's website in the
Oh,
comments
thank
for anybody.
you.
And I agree with that. I feel like I've learned so much from you about balancing, and there's so many aspects to that, which is why it's been such an honor to have you on, because it's easy to get lost um, in the marketing and in the social media and all the hype to where you've got the actual book to finish, and then you've got your other books beyond this set to work on.
Mhm.
um, Thomas says, as an indie author, what advice would you give a new author with little social media following on how to market
Mm,
their book and reach more readers? That's an excellent question.
That is an excellent question. I would automatically direct you to the Kindlepreneur section of on KDP. Their resources are easy to understand. They're graphically organized, and they help you not only figure out, like, ads and everything, but they also help you figure out how do you write your blurb so that it's not just a summary of your book, but that it's actual copy that people look at and become interested in buying your book. Keep working on social media though. It I'm at just over 2,000. My I don't have very many, but the people that I have created relationships with. We interact regularly, and that is so much more important than just getting numbers, because it doesn't matter if you have 10,000 followers if you're only talking to two of them. So take your time with it, be genuine, be authentic, and you will find those people who come and help you. Like, even just to share your post, it means so much, and you get that by creating these relationships. But ads are a good way to go. You have to be careful with it, set your budget, because they like to run away with it, they like to run away with your money. But if you can, yeah, look at Kinderpreneur, read some. There are lots of good books out there to help with ad marketing and everything. There's actually even lots of people willing to help you with this. Another good group to start out with to learn the business of it is 20 books to 50K. They're an amazing group. It's just a collective of people who are working hard to make this their job. And they have so much good information to offer, and they're very helpful along the way too. And they celebrate your wins, from putting the end on the page to getting your first $1,000 in your bank account to, even further. Some of them are making six figures or more. So it's a very good group to get in with and learn from.
I agree. I dropped that link in there too. I'm also a member of that group, although a newer member to that group. I will say that if you're on Facebook, which is where the link that I just sent you is to, this is not a marketing group. It's a how to help you become an
Mhm.
author, which includes how to market. So don't jump on there and go, oh, I can like
Right.
advertise to all these people. It's a good way to get kicked off. But
It is a good way. It's a how to help yourself. It is a
right.
how to help yourself group. Hmm.
I mean, there are promo groups on Facebook and Instagram and stuff too, but um, I think really, like Harry said, the value of getting plugged in with a tribe of other authors who are willing to be open and willing to be transparent make this journey so much less lonely than it is if you don't do that. Um, and that's why we're also doing these series of live chats, is to get the expertise from people like CK. So if you're following and you've never heard of me and you don't follow my channel, thank you for showing up to support CK and to watch. But I'll be bringing other authors on too over the year, and other professionals like book box people that manage Nerdy Book Box. She's coming on at like beginning of April into March, and influencers and bloggers, and just talk about ways that you can improve as an indie author and that I can improve as an indie author.
Hmm.
Um,
That's
so that
exciting.
was a great question. Great question.
Yeah.
Um,
I've
it,
subscribed to your channel too now, Kat. I'm excited to see all of these things.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been so cool just connecting with other authors. And if I had anything to add to what CK said, that would be the only thing I have to add is when I started out as a nobody, and I like to call it my invisible phase. It
Mm-hmm.
was connecting with other indie authors in my genre, getting involved, learning with them, and making genuine connections with them and their readers, like CK said, that started my platform out. Because to me, it wasn't about making the numbers. If I make some money back on my books, that's great. But I also am an editor full time, so that pays my bills. I'm doing this to connect with people. And I
Mm-hmm.
think your readers can sense that. And CK does a great job of this. She's very active in the writer community. She supports other authors. She's on other authors' street teams. She was part of my street team when I was a brand new person last year. So thank you again.
Love it.
But yeah,
I have a wall in my office of all the cards that I get from the street teams that I help out. Like they send me character art or I'll buy the character art. I have a wall of it just so I can look at it and see like the visual effect of the community. And it's really amazing.
oh, I love that
It's
idea
very
so
exciting.
much.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you ever going to post a picture of your wall one day on like social media?
Yeah, maybe it's like on my bifold door. It's not, and it's I want it to be more full. I want to help more. I want to get like the evidence. But yeah, no, definitely. I have that's a great idea, and I've been thinking about it. I just like I said, I kind of want it to be more full.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
speaking of street teams, I know you had a street team for Afflicted. Did you
Mhm.
have one for Trimart, or was Afflicted your first time using one?
I sort of had one for Trimarked. It was mostly friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
A few authors also helped out at that point. But I don't know. It's street teams are they are incredibly helpful when they work. And I have and the thing is I think too people misunderstand ARC team and street team. So I
Mm-hmm.
I feel that and I want to say this cautiously because I'm very grateful to everybody who signed up. But I feel that many of them wanted the ARC team and not the street team.
Mm-hmm.
And that is fine. That is absolutely fine. I have nothing wrong with that. I just was preparing different material.
Yeah.
But I love it. They are sharing my stuff. They are reading my books. They are loving my books. Thank goodness. And that is the core of it. And that is the most important part. So I'm taking that away from it too to make sure that I'm just more clear
Mm-hmm.
when I sign people up what the different parts are so that we can all be on the same page. That's all it's about is just being on the
That's
same
right. And an ARC team, or ARC team, for those who are watching, that's advanced reader copy. It's somebody who gets the book before the release. And while reviews are never required, because that would be a violation of Amazon's terms of service, they're
page.
definitely appreciated
Yeah.
because it helps people say, this is a brand new book and I should care because. And then you have objective people who've chosen to leave a review
Yes.
versus a street team. And these are people who are going to be posting about your cover reveal. They are coming alongside you and helping you release your book, baby, to the whole world. So it's a little more of a commitment.
Involved.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So both are very essential, like you
Yeah.
said, and very appreciated. I say this as an author too. Every little bit helps indie authors because you don't have the backing of a giant publisher.
Yeah.
Um, but that's the fun in it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yes, thank
let's
you.
see
Okay.
here. Um, what is the Steam level for your Trimark series? I think you've already said it's not really a
It's not.
romance.
Mhm. Yeah, I guess, yeah, there's innuendo, but not actual engagement.
When you say dark, is it going to be okay for a younger YA, like a 12 or 13-year-old?
I always caveat this. Mine, yes. My 12-year-old, yes. We watch Lord of the Rings. We watch, Wheel of Time. He's very in depth to this. That being said, there are some grown-up things in this book. And so I do caution. I want to say it's chapter 26. Um, nope, it's not 26, but there is a chapter in there that has to do with childbirth, and it's not, it's it's not gruesome. It's not detailed like that, but it's a very emotional event.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I caveat it. It's like know what your reader is ready for.
Mm-hmm. That's great advice, just in
Mm-hmm.
general.
Yeah.
And somebody else, this one actually I think ties in well with that. How do you feel about trigger warnings in the young adult market? Do you feel like young adult books should have more trigger warnings than adult fiction?
I love this question. I understand both camps. Um, Not wanting the spoilers and not wanting the trigger warnings. I myself love trigger warnings. Love it because I do have triggers. And it's not that I won't read the book, it's that I have prepared myself for when it comes so that I'm more capable of monitoring my reaction. Like I hate watching a TV show that doesn't have the trigger warnings and all of a sudden I'm triggered. I'm fighting with everybody for no reason because I've been triggered. So in my books, on the if you can see it, the copyright page, there's a link. On my website, there's a link. It's a hidden page on my site, but you can easily find it through the links and on those pages. And then you will get a full list of triggers that I have found from a trigger warning website that I looked up online. They give all of the most common trigger warnings that people prefer to have, and those will be listed on my webpage. So it is always available for people who want it, but it is also hidden for people who prefer not to see those things.
That is a really creative way around that because, like you said, there's two camps, and it's typically either, okay, it's going to have all the trigger warnings, or nope, it's not going to have any trigger warnings. And, you hope that the blurb is detailed enough that you get an idea of what you're going to read about.
Yeah.
But the hidden link that's just genius.
Thank you. Thank
If I
you.
start doing trigger warnings, I might have to borrow
Yeah,
that
no,
idea and be like,
please.
oh, dang.
The more people who do it, the more people know to look for it, right? I would love for it to catch on. Some people put them at the end of the book, so and then with a note at the beginning. It's because it's a new thing, and people don't. And there's this argument over content warnings versus trigger warnings, and I don't personally get into that argument. My thing is that I find if a reader is requesting it, then it is respectful for me to offer it
Mm-hmm.
and to try and offer it as respectfully as possible. And so this was my answer to that.
That's great. We got a couple about social media, which I think are great, and I know I'm trying to respect your time since we're a few minutes over.
Okay.
Um, but one of them is BookBub. So
Mhm.
I have a BookBub video that just went up, like last week or earlier this week. Everything's running together. That you can
Mhm.
watch. If you don't know what BookBub is, CK's link to BookBub is in the description. But it's very similar to Goodreads. I won't go
Mhm.
into all the details here. You can go grab my other video if you don't know what to use it for as an author. But it's got a couple perks that Goodreads doesn't have. And that tied into, have you ever been accepted for a BookBub deal or a BookBub feature?
No. I honestly haven't tried. So I'll say that. But from everything that I have learned about BookBub as well, I don't have the clout yet to qualify. So I'm waiting for the clout, and then yes, then I will start applying for these BookBub deals because they're apparently the best in the business right now. So
Yeah, so stay tuned
yes.
to CK. Follow her on her social media, and if she gets to where she lands that deal, maybe she'll do another live with us and
That
tell us about
that
it.
being said, my books do drop to 99 cents on occasion. They just don't end up in the BookBub um, newsletter. So and I
Mm-hmm.
always announce when that's going to happen.
So you have a newsletter, right?
I do.
The
Mm-hmm.
email. So
Yeah.
if you're wanting to catch those deals too, make sure you subscribe
Mm-hmm.
to CK's newsletter. The last question that we've got is: are there happily ever afters in your books? Is this a spoiler, CK? Can we know whether it's a
No,
happily ever
this
after?
is this is not a spoiler. Especially if you've read. Ember and everything, these characters deserve redemption. They really do. They deserve good things. The thing is, at the same time, that they've been pretty scarred. So they have a lot of learning to do in the process before they are I don't know, healthy enough, I guess, to appreciate when that happens. Like Ember, if you gave her a happy ending right here, she'd throw it back in your face because she wouldn't trust it. So we have to teach Ember to trust first. And then of course in my Genie series, those are romances. Those are going to be happy endings. Those will be more or quicker, I guess. I don't know about satisfying, because I think the harder you work for it might be more satisfying. But so those will have happily for now and happily ever afters in that series. Mm-hmm.
That's great. Okay, so there you have it. It's dark, but it has a happier, a happier, deserving, redemptive ending. And if you're getting the Realm of Darkness set, that 99-cent 42 book set, then you know that CK's book in the set, on top of having genies, and on top of being a gender swap genie, and on top of having all the history she's got in the romance, it's going to be a happy ending that's resolved with no cliffhanger.
Yes. It's also that series is multi-steam level, just to let everybody know. Mine is a fade to black.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah. And I think that's one thing we have in common. I think mine is not fade to black, but it's nondescript.
Yeah.
So there's like you said, tons of steam level in the Realm of Darkness set. If you're watching it and you're like, I like the fact that there's stories in there for my teen. That's fade to black and sort of YA. There's also going to be some steam in there. So yeah, something for everybody.
Always know what you're reading. Always know what you're reading.
Yeah, Jade Waltz has a book in that set. I know hers is going to have some steam, so we're going to see. But thank you so much, CK, for coming on live. Congratulations again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for getting me in. I know you're super busy, so I really appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. I really appreciate all the expertise that you've shared with me as I've grown to where I am. And I'm just so glad to have you on. Hopefully we'll have you on again. Maybe you'll even have a book club deal.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, so like my book club and recommend my books. And that will help me get the clout that I need.
Yes. Thank you, everybody who's on. All the great questions. There have been so many good questions. Subscribe and like my channel if you'd like to stay in touch. I'm bringing on some other Realm of Darkness authors over the next few months to do one-on-one chats like this. So you should get to hear about other books besides CK's and mine in the set.
Oh, Kitty.
She's like, you're over, Mom. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. Take care.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Bye.